Tasty, tasty.
Okay, folks, we are live, finally, eventually. My apologies for this. It's one of those things today where technology is just fighting me all day long, and, well, we're here and we're live now. You missed me? Sorry, Sean. so I put the stream live. I went downstairs to make a cup of coffee. These lights are really bright. I'm just gonna dim them down a touch. And then I just kept hearing the ping of the machine turning, like disconnecting from the network or whatever it was doing. I think it was disconnecting from Twitch. So yeah, that is what happened. Okay, great. And now I need to turn on Wi-Fi, which might disconnect the stream, to be able to control the lights, because the lights are only on a Wi-Fi controller, which is just typical. Let's see if that kills it. Right, okay, so Redlac was first today, Reed wasn't first, so we'll go with that whilst I wait for my control center to turn on for my lights. So someone did beat you, Reed, yes. Moons of Empire, good evening, good sir. Quanta is here as well, or was before the stream died. I'm sure everyone's gone. Sean Wenz is here as well. Shows how much Twitch I watch. Sorry, dude. So you wanted to hear the rambling of SBC, but your sub expired, no worries. Jehovah's here as well, so is Piney TF, so is V Rugdush, so is Rue, so is Conan F. Yeah, thanks for pointing out the stream went down. Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah. KS23 is here as well. First, second time, yeah, you were first the second time round, Moons. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay. So now for some reason, after all of that, my Elgato lights don't want to be found. So I'm gonna have to just sit with the stream. Hold on, I can do it another way. I can dim the lighting another way. There is another app I can use. Just one of those things today. It's just been one of those days where everything has been fighting me. Okay, let's just dim them down just a touch so I'm not blinded by them. There we go. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. Okay, I'm not quite so blinded anymore. I can see. Yeah. Did you hear sticky keys? You did. When I reboot my PC, so I had to reboot my PC really quickly, and I have like an app that tracks some stuff in the background, and it uses sticky keys for that. So the first time I touch shift when I turn my PC on, you will hear the sticky key sound. And basically because I typed shake my head into something, I think it was Discord, you heard the shift being held sound. Yeah, maybe OBS also needs coffee. OBS kind of, so I've actually tried to upgrade OBS to some new stuff using Item, AITUM, so I can stream to YouTube at the same time, which is something I'll turn on now. And it seems to be a bit flaky, to say the least. So I think I actually need to change over to their stream suite for OBS, but that does have a cost. So I need to try and figure out all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm going to try and go through that this week and try and change over the software we use. I have it open in a tab and I'll get to it this week. So we are back. Thought it was me doing something funky. No, it was just me. It was just me. Good evening, Alvi. Thanks for being here. So people can mod and something with limited mobility. Yeah, so I kind of like hack that a little bit to get some shortcuts to work through my Stream Deck and stuff like that, which is tucked over here, which I don't actually use for streaming. I use it for other things, like productivity things. So yeah. Mic is really low. Okay, let me see if I can fix that. This could be because I've reset the PC. Let me have a look. Okay, it is at 100%, and I can't turn it up any louder without changing the gain, so hopefully that'll do. Music louder than Jay. Music seems loud indeed. The music's really quiet. Okay, let's see if I can make the music quieter. Okay, I can barely hear the music now, guys, so there. Watch streak reach. Bazooka is currently on a 3+ stream. Thanks very much, dude. Blinded by the light, yeah. Score a film with Leo DiCaprio? Maybe. Commitment, Dynamics on a 3-stream streak. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the fact that you watch. Gemma's here as well. Good afternoon, my dear. That's much better. That's good. Oh my god, I've got things popping up left, right, and centre now. Much better. Cool. Okay, so I can't actually hear the music. I'm just going to try and adjust it a little bit. You tell me if this makes it too loud for you guys. How's that? Is that okay? I haven't changed any volume settings other than the music, so yeah, much better. Okay. So yeah, is what it is. Okay, I'm getting DMs left, right, and center as well, which is just impossible. Right, okay. I think I'm kind of there. I'm not even going to bother checking if the YouTube's live. If someone chats, I'll see it. Stereo Jar, hey man, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Right, okay, shoes off. It's time to put the heater on and talk shop. So, what's been happening in the world of PT? Well, we had Christmas and New Year. I know I did stream a little bit last week, but Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Dynamics. Yeah, just as I said that. I hope everyone had a really, really good New Year's Eve, whatever you're doing. Me and my wife took it really simple and steady. We stayed at home. We watched the fireworks on the BBC channel, and we had goodies from Marks and Spencer's and some nice wine, and we just chilled out at home with the dog. It was really, really nice, and it's kind of what we do most New Year's on New Year's Eve. We're away for Christmas every year, so New Year's we just tend to spend it on our own, which is nice. God, I love a good coffee. So since Christmas and New Year we were all closed, we did come back on Monday and Tuesday between Christmas and New Year, and shipped out all of the in-stock orders then. So that was last time I saw Mel, was last Monday, so just about a week ago. And then I was in on Friday, which was the 2nd. Thank you, Bob Hotshot, for 37 months of subs. You have lit up my rocket ship, so thank you very much for that. My pink rocket ship. So yeah, so we were back Monday, Tuesday, and I was back in on Friday. So we're pretty much up to date with all in-stock orders. There's a couple hanging about from over the week. Well, quite a few hanging about from over the weekend, which will be shipped out tomorrow as normal. But we are back to normal. In terms of stuff that's coming up at PT this month, we've got a ton of stuff going on. I'll show you the latest group buys and stuff in a few minutes. The big thing is the Vella, which we're going to talk about today, and we're going to build one today as well. I think other vendors are going to already have theirs. Ours are still on the boat, so they haven't arrived yet. So when everyone else goes in stock on the 10th, we won't be able to. I don't know if I want to open up a really quick pre-order and then ship them out the first week in Feb, or if I just want to wait until we have them in Feb. But I think because there's a delay and a disconnect, I think one of the things we'll do is anyone who buys the board before they officially go in, before they arrive, even if we mark it as in stock shipping in 3 weeks, anyone who buys in that window until they're physically here, we'll chuck in like some free Hall effect switches. So there'll probably be the Black Knight switches, which is one of the choices we'll have today. So we'll just chuck in some switches for free to kind of cover that that kind of issue. So yeah, but we're going to take a look at one today. In stock HE board, pog. Yeah, I'm really sorry that we're just not going to get them in time for the worldwide launch on the 10th. Unfortunately, shipping to the UK takes longer than to most other areas. So whilst we all got them to our forwarders at roughly around the same sort of time, by the time we'd arranged to get it on a ship, and then it takes 6 to 8 weeks to get here into the UK, plus delays and whatever else. Other parts of the world only take 4 weeks to get to, so it's just not going to be here for that time, unfortunately. But we will have them in stock, like literally here. We've already paid for them. We've already got them.
Tasty,
Mr. Basics, thank you so much for lighting up my rocket ship, dude. 45 months of subs. That's crazy. Thank you. Jet 2 meme has been done to death. Wait, who's doing Jet 2 memes now? That's not something I've done, sadly. I wish I had done it years ago. Neither was the Wicked. Wait, what? What on earth are you on about? I don't know. So the rest of the things that are happening this month is that we're hopefully going to get that shipment in. So the container is due to arrive in port on the 20th of January. I think we'll realistically get that the first week in February, just because it takes 2 weeks to get through ports these time. They did it on the fireworks show in London. Oh, okay, yes, they did. Yeah. Well, I was watching that and I did saw it. It was silly and I wasn't a fan. The fireworks were terrible this year, but it is what it is. So we're expecting to get that container, and that's got a load of stuff in it. Let me see if I can grab Notion really quickly to kind of give you a view of what's going to be coming up in that container, because there's an absolute huge amount of stuff in it. Where is the... Why can I not see it? Where on earth is that calendar gone? Oh, it's there. Someone's moved it. That's why. Yeah. So this is the 26th container we've shipped. It's got the Class 65 V3 in it. It's got the MM glazed beige keycaps, which are then going to stock. It's got the Toro 60, the Cerberus in there, KKB Dolce Cadet, the TGR Jane rubber hoses, but I think we're waiting for the PCBs for those as well. I need to have a look at that. It's got the Solar 80s in there, the Neo 60 cores, Neo 70s, a load of Neo stuff and QK stuff, to be honest. I'm not going to go through all of that. A restock of the Reeds HE switches as well. Pangea Minis in there, the Busy Town Decimats are in there, the Vella is in there as well. There's also the Agliston Radiant HE switches that will be arriving at the same time, so they'll go into stock at the same time as the Vella, and we do recommend them because they're a great combo. KKB Komodo is going to be there as well. GMK Mizu desk mats will finally arrive. Cap MV Classic, PBS Modern Abacus, Cam Squid Soda, some more QK stuff and Neo stuff. Neo 80, the original ones, Neo 60s, Neo 65s, Neo Ergos, quite a lot of that kind of stuff. There's a big box of keyboard stabilizers. I think they're ones that we've actually ordered nearly 2 years ago that are finally arriving, so they might be terrible. We might just end up giving those away. We'll see. There's a ton more switches. I think we've got over 40 different types of switches coming, 40 types of switch coming. So we'll see. We might not sell them all. We've only ordered like 4,000 or 5,000 of each one. So if they're terrible quality, they might not go in stock, but there's quite a lot of those. The Keycult number 160 replacement tops are in this shipment as well. And then there's all sorts of like warranty replacements and a ton of other stuff and some in-stock stuff coming that we haven't talked about as well, that we can't talk about just yet. So yeah, there's a ton, absolute ton of stuff coming, but as I say, it's kind of like at sea, and it'll be here when it's here. We're expecting it to hit port on the 20th currently. The snow and everything else might slow that down, so that's 16 days away. And then realistically, it's going to be 27th, 28th when it clears customs, and then it's going to be a couple of days for delivery. Realistically, I think it'll be Friday the 30th or week commencing Monday the 2nd of Feb when it arrives here. And if it arrives week commencing the 2nd of Feb, we aim to have all group buy shipments shipped out and all in stock by the 20th of February. So I know that's 6 weeks away, 7 weeks away, but that's kind of like the current plan. We think we can turn around everything in there within 2 weeks. Okay, I really cannot hear this music. I'm gonna have to turn it up a little bit. Let me know if that makes it too loud for you guys. So yeah. Let's get you a chat. Booked Jet 2 trip today. Nice. Jet 2 dodged their obligations as employers. They're not deserving of any attention. Okay. My sister-in-law works there. She gets no maternity leave because she's only ever given 8-month contracts for cabin crew. That's a bit sus. Jet2 a crap airline too. The only airline that insists you have your feet flat on the floor for takeoff and landing. What if your left leg is in a cast? No, too flat for you. Wait, what? I've never heard that. Is that true? It's weird. Toro 60 was quick. Yeah. There's also a ton of other stuff coming as well. So yeah. Checking the updates almost every day for this batch of the Neo 80CUs. I know it won't be in until like March, but I can't help it. Yeah, the Neo 80CU is going to be like towards the end of Q1. So we paid the bill for them like the first or second week in December when we got them, when we got the invoice through. And realistically, I think that we're not going to get them shipped to our forwarder until early February. It's going to be, late January, early February. And then it's going to be 6 weeks to ship it to the UK. So it is going to be March time. It's just one of those things. Quarterly update on GMK Choco Donuts. No idea, dude. Like, I'm tempted to just refund all the orders for it, and so we'll see. We'll see if I get around to that. Super hands. It's just frustrating. Excited for the oblique? Yeah, me too. So the obliques are in the shipment. They need probably a little bit more care. I know there's been a lot of QC issues with them, and unfortunately, they're just. Yeah, that's just one of the things we're going to have to face into. And I know that they did leave the manufacturer for Bowl a couple of weeks before they left for us, and then plus the extended, like the ship from China to the US is only like 4 weeks, if that. It's like 3 weeks and 2 days or something, plus time to get it on a container. Whereas to the UK, it's like 6. So because they left a little bit before ours, and then it's quicker to ship. Like I know Bowl had them a little bit before us, so we'll get there as soon as we can. I think there's a couple of others, Captain Reed. I'm not sure if Soup Hands is the only order for it. I don't want to say that and then he not be, but there's not many. It's like less than 5. I think it's just rusty screws, but fingers crossed. Yeah, I've seen some other chat about some of the PVD stuff, but we'll look into it and we'll make sure that everything that does ship out is A stock. We're not gonna ship something that's subpar. I know a couple of people have already emailed us to say that they've seen issues with other vendors and they want to make sure we get it right. So yeah, we'll figure that out. Average Joe, hey man, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Right, okay, so that's kind of where we're at from a PT news perspective. Let's flip over to the website and I'll show you guys what's going on in real time. Is that going to work? Yeah, there we go. I didn't have a chance to test it, and sometimes it's a bit flaky as the connection to show the website. So let's exit preview because I don't want to be in a preview mode. First things first, I have put I've put 2 blog posts up there, one on Boxing Day for boxers, and there is a photo I haven't published of me wearing some of the new boxers there. If you want to have a read of these, this is just me ranting about boxer shorts and how annoying they are. And it was like a little Boxing Day thing. But the big thing is this has now been published yesterday. I haven't announced it yet because I'm still tweaking some of the wording yet, but if you want to have a read of this, you can. It's basically kind of like an overview of where we've been over the past year 2025 and how we're moving into 2026 under a series of different headers and a bit of rationale. It's a really, really long read. I don't expect anyone to actually go through and read it, but it's kind of like it's my way of saying this is what we're going to do this year. So if you're interested in seeing what we're going to do and how we're going to change and how we're going to evolve as a company, maybe give it a read. It'll be finished in maybe tomorrow, and then I'll put up an announcement and tag it in an announcement. And there's also one for the coffee website as well, which I haven't published yet, which is called Beans and Burnout, because it was nice to keep the same titles. But yeah, it's about the slowdown of group buys and when they stop feeling fun, and kind of group buy fatigue and how we're going to move forward. But of course there's also dead stock, so cash flow assassin. I need to change some of these titles, so that title should be a H3 heading, not a H2 heading. And then there's kind of like, you know, the value proposition problem that we've talked about on stream before, and then some kind of like larger titles for things that's going to happen as well. So yeah, all of that kind of good stuff there. And there's a little bit of is this your oh that's me kind of moment. Maybe have a read of that if you're into that kind of thing. But yeah, it should be good, and it kind of outlays how we're going to change and what we're going to do for 2026 and where my head's at in terms of what running PT looks like. So feel free to give it a read. As well as that, I just want to call out a few of the live group buys that we've got going on at the moment. So first of all, and I know I have to do the whole shilling thing, I hate doing this bit, so I apologize. The Nessun Noritech is live right now. If you like the whole Nessun series of boards with the exploded spacebar, this is kind of cool. It's an FRL TKL with a cool nav cluster. It's got some really cool PCB componentry, some cool accents. It comes in a host of really cool colors, and it's just like kind of like a really, really nice board. The polycarbonate one is looking especially nice, and I'm hoping to get a version of this to build on stream. So take a look at that if you're interested. GMK Foundation in MT New and GMK is now live as well with the really cool accent keys available. So if you do want to pick up what is possibly one of the nicer sets in MT New, might be for you, and it's also available in CYL as well. The other thing, where did that go? Oh yeah, there we go. The other thing that did go live today was DCS Superworld. So if you haven't seen this, this is DCS Superworld. This will be announced tomorrow. I don't think anyone's actually seen it or bought it yet, but it's got ISO coverage in base. We are hoping to do ISO UK kits for this with Melissa, but I haven't confirmed that as yet. But I'm pretty certain if you buy it, you can assume we will be doing it. They've never stopped us doing it so far. So I just need to have that conversation with Melissa, and that the ISO UK keys will be included with the base kit, even if there's no renders. I just need Melissa to confirm that. But yeah, Superworld, great set. It's got the cool stepped caps keys available as well, stepped control, stepped alt. Really, really nice set, and it's DCS as well, and it'll have UK ISO. What's not to love? The Retro 66V3 is now live, so we've worked with Deadline on both previous rounds of this. It's kind of a cool board. It's got that angsty kind of look to it. A couple of knobs if you want them, and these kind of cool angle bits in some cool colors, and then some anodized aluminium that's got some really cool polycarbonate molding coverings as well. Mr. Kalain, thank you so much for 19 months of subs. DCS Super World Legends color is gorgeous. Absolutely is. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. GMK Noel is now live as well. This did go live on Boxing Day or Christmas Day even. I think it might even been Christmas Day. Noel R2, super cute set, and it's now live and ready to buy. One of the cutest sets we've done in a long time. And GMK Seawell Splash is also live too. Again, this is GMK Hydro reimagined basically, and of course the Key Cult number 2 TKL. Everything else we covered prior to Christmas. Live pre-orders, I think there's a couple of things on here that well, there's only one thing on here that I want to shout out about. I'm supposed to have already submitted the order for this. I haven't, so if you do want to get the KBD Fans Tofu TKL Year of the Horse limited edition, which has got this cool kind of vintage classical horse motif on the rear, get your order in before the morning, because the first thing I'll be doing when I get to the workshop in the morning is putting in the order for these. But it's got this really cool designed weight, so if that's your kind of thing, get your order in before then. And then in terms of in-stock stuff, we've put a ton in stock recently. Mizo R2 is in stock, N16 is in stock, Just Beachy's in stock. We restocked a massive amount of Night V4 stabilizers. We actually ordered more Night V4 stabilizers for this stock drop than we have in all previous stock drops, and there's still about a third sold already, so definitely get those in as well if you're interested. Okay, right, I'll try not to do any more shilling. I think that's everything I wanted to cover anyway, so we'll get rid of the browser and jump back to chat while I finish my coffee. Right, let's catch up with chat. Before I do a buy, can I doubly confirm that KKB Dolce Cadet comes with UK ISO keys? Dolce Cadet as in the pre-order? I think it does. If it says it does on the website, then you can check. Wait, where was the where did we say that? Did we say that on the listing? I'm sure we are getting the UK ISO keys for it though. Yes, UK ISO keys, yes. We are doing the UK ISO keys. Just checking. Yeah, all base kits will include the UK ISO keys. Yeah, that's what we have agreed with KKB. So all base kits will include them. We pay for them, you get them for free. They're not included in the cost of the base kit. I think they cost us $8 each for each base kit. So it basically means we break even on the base kit. So yeah, that's where we're at. But yes, yeah, all the base kits is included with. Cool. Okay. Right, Mr. Clayton, thank you again for your subs. ISO UK's ISO keys with Superworld, maybe another buy now that I know that. Yeah, Nufi. So for almost all Signature Plastic sets, we will offer a UK ISO kit. Sometimes we can't get that agreement from them prior to it going live, but we always, there hasn't been a set that we haven't done it for yet, so or in recent memory. For example, DCS Pink Alert, they will all get that included. I think it's something like $12 or something, and the margin on the set's like $4, but we buy the UK ISO keys for every base kit that we order, and then we try and recoup it through the in-stock cost. That's why our base kits are sometimes a little bit more expensive in stock, but they're still the same price during group buy. So anyone who buys it in stock basically pays for us to break even, and for the UK ISO keys for the group buys as well. So yeah, I just came here for the knobs. Yeah, well,
tasty.
Yeah, perfect place for it as well. Thank you very much, Mr. JQ UK. You have lit up my pink rocket ship. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate your sub, dude. Superworld closes on payday. Yes. Well, if that's your payday, yeah, it does. Splash and Foundation will get international kits directly through GMK, right? I don't know if I'm honest for you, Rugdush. They have basically told us that we're not allowed to sell the international kits anymore because we're making so many complaints about it, I think, and having like dead stock. So they are not letting vendors sell it, and they'll just have them on the website. But we are then no longer involved in which set those are made for. it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. I don't know what they're gonna do, and that means I can't tell you guys, unfortunately. So yeah, Kalain on a plane. Enjoy you. Have a good flight, dude. Did the Comic Sans Glaze set ever run? Would love a set. No, so the Comic Sans set never ran in the Glaze, but I do have it from JCS just in the standard one. I think we gave it away though. I think we might have given it away. If anyone does want the Comic Sans set from JCS, I can stock it. Let me know. Why is Nob just so satisfying to say? PP also. We'll never understand. Just man things. I heard UK so was mentioned. Yeah, JQ, it was mentioned. Am I misremembering, or did you submit a design for the GMK competition? I think vendors were excluded from that, if I remember rightly. I talked about it on stream a couple of weeks ago, and I had an idea for it. I think it was like the first week in December when it was announced, but I'm pretty sure vendors weren't allowed to do it, so I didn't submit it. So yeah. Cool. So GMK will have warehouses full of unsold ink kits instead of vendors. I think they'll just make them in much smaller quantities, which is basically what we asked them to do anyway. So yeah, we'll see what they come with Vampire. If it removes the risk from vendors and makes ink kits more available, I'm all for it. I think Bazooka, the risk is that it will mean that any set that has an ink kit, the base kit will only run through GMK and everyone will have to go direct to GMK, and it will ultimately cut the vendors out of the situation entirely. I think that's where GMK are headed. We'll see. I don't know for definite, but I feel like that's what they're aiming for. They have all of these kits now in stock on the website. I think they want to slowly phase out from having vendors. So yeah. I bought a whole bunch of BAE and now we can use them everywhere. Excellent, dude. Yeah, I think we've got a ton of BAE in stock. It sells so badly though. Like, we've stocked a load of it, and we actually sell more BAE keys to the US than we do to anyone in the UK. I think there's been like 4 sets of BAE. Like, I'm exaggerating here. There's been like 4 sets of BAE keys shipped to UK customers, and there's been like 1,000 shipped to the US. It's kind of insane. I don't know if that is what's going to happen, Moons. I get the sense that they're trying to move away from the vendor model and more to the kind of direct-to-customer model. I don't know if that's true. I can kind of understand if it is, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Coniferous kits sadly didn't do so well, maybe because UKs were in base. I think even then it would have only added, 5 sales to it, Rugdush. So I think I don't like. Yeah, it would have added nothing to it. I don't think we even sold like double figures of base sets in the group buy in the UK. So even if all of the customer, like I suspect about half of the buyers who bought it in the group buy would have actually bought an international kit if the UK ISO kit wasn't included. And I think there was less than 10 sales of the base kit in the UK, which realistically means that only 5 people would have actually bought an international kit. Despite being probably the best green set GMK have ever made, Fox might be the close runner for it. Or Royal Alpha, actually. Royal Alpha's really good. Okay, there's a lot of good green sets. Despite being one of the top 3 green GMK sets ever made, it did not sell very well here in the UK. It sold okay around the world, but here in the UK, not very many people bought it. So, and that was with UK ISO included. It was actually significantly more underrepresented. Like, it sold way less than Unobtainium. It sold way less than, what else has run recently? Hold on, I need the website back. I need the website back to see what's run recently. I'll give you a kind of rundown of what it sold more than. So Unobtainium Blue sold more. Cherry Love sold more. Abyssal sold more. Ada sold more. Mictlan Rebirth sold way more. Windbreaker sold way more. Pink Alert sold way more. Cap Santa Island sold way more. Kaiju R3 sold way more. Yeah, almost everything sold way more than Coniferous, sadly. It's a shame because it's such a nice set, and I really, really rate it. And it did have UK ISO in base, but it's another set now that had UK ISO in base that just shows that it hurts sales to have UK ISO in base, which is frustrating, and will make it more difficult to argue to put UK ISO in base for future sets. I ordered BAE in the UK. Yeah, you're one of the few. We love big AE. That's fair. That's fair, Sean. Yeah, I appreciate it. Would definitely support that sales model. I mean, I don't know. I just it's as a vendor, that's kind of like where I see it going from a business perspective. So, yeah. UK base is all I'd need. Bum that Just Beat You didn't meet MOQ. Yeah, we tried to do it with Just Beat You, where it was in with another kit, so both cells were trying to help it get to MOQ. Didn't work. Didn't work. I was planning to get Coniferous in extras. So many good sets this month. Can't have them all. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Coniferous, there will be extras because we had to buy it out. But yeah. Tiger. Tiger's another great green set. Yeah. Too many nice sets. Too little money. I get it. I get it. I get it. Flame me, but I don't think Coniferous is a great kit. Looks dated. Do you not buy beige, Bazooka? I think anyone who buys beige should look at Coniferous again. So many group buys near Christmas. So there's another product that I'm working with Joe who used to run MetKeys in the UK, and like trying to find a slot to put a keycap set in with the big vendors is really hard. Like we were speaking with Novel Keys about this set a year ago. We still don't have it into a slot, and there are sets that are already scheduled up to January 2027. Like right now we have on our list sets scheduled right up to January 2027, like a year out, and trying to find a good slot to put stuff in where it's not competing with anything of similar colors, or it's not competing with Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever the big holidays are, you know, Chinese New Year's coming up. All of those things make it really hard to fit them in. So there's going to be times when sets and things run that just mean it dies because it was the wrong time for that particular set, and it's one of those things. Gustav, hey man, thanks so much for being here. There should be a limit in the number of group buys in a given time. Yeah, but you can't limit a market, Captain Mike, because it's an open time. And if we've already got sets scheduled, like there's over 100 sets scheduled between now and January next year. That's 10 a month, pretty much, got 8 a month, or whatever it works out at, that we're a part of, and there'll be more that we aren't a part of. You know, like how do you kind of put a commission that runs this? You'd have to put a cabal in place that oversaw how key sets were run, and that's not how a free market works, unfortunately, Captain Mike. So yeah. Mel said it's snowing very fast. I'll go have a look out the window. Let me have a look out the window and I'll see. Yeah, it's snowing. I don't have my good boots with me either. There is a reasonably good chance I'm not going to get home tonight. We might have to end the stream without doing a build because that weather is... Hold on, where's my phone? Let me show you. So I had to go take a picture. Wait, what? This is outside right now. Hold on, I'll leave the time up for you so you can see. That's my little green truck outside. It is snowing. The cameras didn't pick up the snow, but you can see it is settling. And you can barely see the white lines denoting the car parking spaces. And you can actually see where a car's driven into the yard in the snow, and they're taken up. So, yeah. I think we might have to cancel the build tonight. If the ink kits get cancelled, would customers who ordered it be also able to cancel the rest of their order? So yes, if you order a base kit and an ink kit and the ink kit doesn't get to MOQ, we would then cancel it, but we would tend to buy the ink kit out to make sure that you didn't cancel the order, because it affects everyone when that happens. So like if we have people canceling base kits as well, like it just messes up all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so maybe is the answer. Nuke Data. Do you know what? Nuke Data never sells well for us. We've got hundreds of sets in stock because no one ever buys it. Gustav, if you want me to take a look at something, drop me an email at jae@prototype.net, and I can take a look and try and help you, depending on what you wanted to do. So yeah, you can set a keyboard via email. I wish, because that would save me it'd save me 50 grand a month in shipping costs. Similar colors didn't cross my mind. Makes sense. Yeah. What are these schedule sets? Whether ICs supporting them to be run? There are a lot of ICs for them. There are some that don't have ICs at all. The issue with ICs before you put a product into group buy is that they are not indicative anymore. So what vendors have found is that ICs generate feedback that make a designer change and tweak a set based on very small volumes of feedback, 1 or 2 comments. And those changes then put off the actual vast bulk of customers who are silent. So you will start to notice that more of the stuff that is approached to vendors first, before it even gets an IC, before it's even seen publicly, will have less of an IC phase, and we'll just have more vendor promotion, such as Reels and Instagram stories and Instagram posts, and all of the Mastodon posts and all of the other places like Twitter and TikTok and all the other places we post. You'll start to see that there will be advertised more than interest check. The reason for that is because, as I say, a lot of the feedback that you get to change comes from a really small number of people who have really strong feelings about things. So the ISO UK crowd is one, and they will convince the designers to change things and input things that then reduce the saleability of the set and actually risk it making MOQ. And as we move more to a world, if you read the blog post I showed earlier on, as we move to more of a world where we are curating our decisions on what sets to run and we are saying no to more, that becomes more and more of a compounding issue. The industry is going through a change. The only way it will continue is if it's less designer-led and more business-orientated. Otherwise, you will see more vendors fail. And that's an awful piece of news, and it's an awful thing to say, and I do apologize to designers in that blog post about it, but it is the shape of the way things are having to go. So yeah, so many sets just run without ICs like NK sets. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the way it is. Keycap Lender can't add them all. Yeah, don't get stuck in the warehouse. I will try not to. I have heating and I have coffee. I can always sleep here if I need to. Yeah. Stranded with coffee and Twix. No, the Quattro is fine. It's the limited slip diff, the sports differential that's not working. The Quattro system itself is fine. All-wheel drive is there, just no limited slip differential. So it is basically a locked diff at the minute, an open diff at the minute because the clutches can't engage. So yeah. Get the ski boards out. I wish. Short stream, go home now. I'm aiming to finish at 9 p.m. so in about 10 minutes. So yeah. Stream from home. I don't have a computer at home, so I can't, unfortunately. There's no way for me to stream from home, unfortunately. Do you at least have snow tires? No, and it does need new tires, does my car as well. So yeah. Stream from the car. We can watch Jay fight the steering. No. ICs are good for spotting errors and obvious omissions, at least. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as vendors, I think we have a good handle on that these days, but no computer at home. No, part of the deal when we used to have a smaller workshop in the same series of units, literally 300 yards away, and we needed to move to a bigger unit 3.5 years ago. And the deal I had with my wife was that we wouldn't move house 3 years ago, and we'd move house this year, late 2025, early 2026, which we're trying to do, because I needed to move into a bigger warehouse, and I had to sign the lease agreement for 6 years with a 3-year break clause on it. so that's why we moved here. But part of that agreement was that I would move my office from home to the workshop because there was a bigger office here. And that means that basically I have no office at home. So I have my laptop, and that's the best I have. And whilst that's great for some small things, it's a terrible webcam. It's an Apple, one of the relatively new Apples, 2023 Apple MacBook Pro. So that I don't have an office there because I had to move everything here, which is why everything, like even like watches and Pogs and Lego and all my personal stuff, my video games consoles, my TV, everything. Like if I want to play a video game, I can't play it at home. I have to come to the workshop to play. That was the deal I had with my wife a few years ago, based on the fact that we needed to pause moving house. And so yeah. ICs are good for spotting errors and obvious omissions. Yeah, sometimes they are, but I think vendors have a reasonable handle on that. If key sets become more business focused, do you think it will limit creativity within the design space? So maybe. I think the real issue here is that a lot of key sets were already agreed before the interest checks come out, and I don't think that necessarily hurts design, but as things struggle to get through a queue in a group buy because more customers want in-stock stuff, vendors have to play it safer with the in-stock stuff. Like we tried it with a few things like JOG and the MW by PT Black on White and White on Black sets, and they didn't sell. They haven't sold. Like I wasted 30 grand on those sets. It was a waste of money. I should never have made them, and I thought they were safe bets because they're white on black, black on white, and beige. And no, I was completely and utterly wrong about them. But when it comes to like other things, like the Vella, for example, we were fairly confident with the Venom PCBs and everything else, and the value proposition of the board. It's going to sell well. But it as you're choosing what to not go through a group buy with, and what to put in stock, you do lose that barometer of popularity through group buy sales. And interest checks have never been a good barometer of what sales will look like. You can have interest check with 4,000 responses and it sells 100 sets. You can have an interest check with 30 responses, it sells 1,000 sets. So interest checks have never been a great barometer of it either. Some have, and some have worked really well. Others have just, the numbers have been so iffy you can't judge them. So as vendors are now moving away from that group buy stance because customers don't want to buy in group buys, I think year on year sales for group buys between 2024 and 2025 were down about 35% here at PT, so a third down, which is a big chunk. It's $250,000, more than, it's £500,000 a year nearly. So as that kind of thing happens, vendors have to make a decision to buy stuff that they know will do well selling in stock and not sit and become dead stock sat on the shelf for 3 years. So you have to make a sensible decision. So you have to, one, be sure it's going to sell. And that doesn't mean sell in 4 years. It's going to have to sell within 6 months if you're putting it in stock. Otherwise, it's capital that you've tied up and wasted. Because as a product sat on a shelf, this is what other people don't realize. A product sat on a shelf has a cost. You are paying for that product every single month in storage fees because you have to pay for warehousing space. Or if you use a third-party logistics company like some vendors do, you are paying for storage space there for a stock that is not selling, which is just not worth doing, especially when you have to pay picking and packing, where you have staff to pay for picking and packing and shipping. So stock that hangs around for more than about 6 months is actually really, really bad. The other thing here in the UK is we have to pay we have to pay tax on stock on the shelf because it's an asset. So if we have 100 grand's worth of stock on the end of our financial year, we will pay 25% tax on the value of that stock. So we would owe 25 grand because it's worth 100 grand. If we have £1 million worth of stock on hand, which generally is about where we are, we have to pay 250,000 in tax on that stock because it's sat here. If we then have it sat there again, that same stock, that same 100 grand stock, say, 100 grand's value, cost value of stock at the end of 2026, and that hasn't sold, we will have to pay 25% again. So then you pay 50% tax on that stock because it's sat on your shelf for 2 years, which is diabolical. Now, don't get me wrong, we can write that stock off and still have it for sale on the website and then pay tax on it if it sells. But then you start to have to come up with really clever rules about what you are writing off and what you're not writing off. What do you not think is going to sell? And, it makes it really, really tough. JOG seems great, but maybe that market is saturated. There's a lot of beige PBT already with XMI, etc. Maybe, but XMI still sells really well. And that's the other side of it. The other thing that I don't do is I don't like to do any advertising. So we send maybe 3 mail blasts a year. We send, we don't do any SMS. We don't do much in terms of Instagram posts. We do mostly stories, and that's one of the things that's going to have to change going forward this year. We are going to have to start to unfortunately do some advertising. Now, we don't know if we've never done paid advertising on like Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. We've never done any of that kind of stuff, but that's something that we're going to have to start taking a look at, I think. So we'll see. PBT versus ABS is largely part of it, as I assume GMK and SP are so popular. Maybe. I think PBT in general sells quite well. Penguin Belly Slide is mostly PBT, and that sells really, really well. There's other PBT sets that do sell well. So yeah, I think it's just different, and I think the big part of it is lack of advertising on our part. So that's something that we're going to have to change and look into. So yeah, maybe it's actually one thing that we should do rather than stream today is go through that blog post, because it might actually help solidify some people's understanding of where I'm coming from. But if you've got any questions on this kind of stuff, like I know Captain Mike does, maybe we can go through it. Let's have a look at it. Let me bring it back up. I think I've still right here. Okay, so it's just under information, Jay's ramblings, and then it's here. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you guys can actually read it. And we'll go through this. We'll spend 10 minutes going through this, and then I'm going to have to go home because it is sounding quite bad. So I'm going to read it out in like sections and kind of like cover it. How can you just read it? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So it was easier to love the keyboard hobby when everything sold out in 30 seconds and nobody had done the maths yet. Yeah, I stand by this. Years ago, when everything sold out, it was really easy to love it. And it was easy to try and find the challenge of keeping stuff in stock. That was a nicer challenge to have. 2025 was the year the maths arrived, sat down, and started asking everyone very pointed questions about the group buys, dead stock, and why half the internet thinks a £40 board with £300 keycaps is sensible behaviour. Keyboard-wise, 2025 wasn't a collapse, it was a correction. The boom years faded, the easy wins evaporated, and what was left was a more demanding, more cautious, but still very real market. The job for 2026 is to work with that reality instead of pining for 2021. So what I'm trying to say here is that the market had boom years back in 2021, 2022. Just after COVID, people buying stuff left, right, and centre. 2023 kind of was a bit of a downturn. For us, 2024 was a big write-off of all of the vendors that had gone bust. So My Keyboard, Rama, all of those. So we kind of rolled our losses into that one year. And then 2025 was kind of like our return to profit and everything else, but with a very much more realistic take on it. So if you have any questions as we go through it, I'll please ask in chat. So keyboards in 2025, group buys, dead stock, and the race to the bottom. So these are kind of like the big things that happened that came, I think the community became aware of, that vendors might have been circling around for a couple of years. Let's time box a check so Jake can get home really safely. Yeah, we'll just run through this article and then I'll go home. So once upon a time, a group buy felt like an event. A designer would post renders, everyone would lose their minds, there'd be a mad scramble at opening, and then a year later, if the stars aligned, a box would appear with something genuinely special inside. Like, I remember being part of this. I remember buying stuff in group buys, GMK Olivia. So, fun fact, I was the first person in the EU to get GMK Olivia from the first run, because I was doing Top Click at the time. It was run through Candy Keys. David got them, and before he'd even packed any customer orders, he shipped my set to me. So I was one of the first people to get that. Same with Solarise Dark and a few other sets. And it was genuinely a really specialized time. It was lovely. It was nice. Everyone was really excited. But there was, 5 group buys a year at this point. By 2025, the mood has changed. Group buy fatigue, and I put fatigue in italics here because I really do feel like it is fatigue. People don't want to see group buys anymore. As set in hard, people have been burned by delays, disappointments, and drama. So failed vendors, group buys taking forever, people don't want them. Projects have dragged on, communication has misfired, and more than a few dream boards became memes for all of the wrong reasons. There are some links in here. If you want to click on those links and see what I'm talking about, feel free to do so. They're all links to PT, so it's me making fun of myself and our own stock. So yeah. So when do group buys stop feeling like fun? From the outside, running group buys looks straightforward. Collect money, make boards, ship boards. From the inside, it's a high wire act involving massive upfront costs for manufacturing slots, materials, royalties and tooling, and that as combined cost is nearly always more than the group buy revenue. Design challenges that escalate the moment you try to even be slightly ambitious. Suppliers and factories who operate on their own timelines and definitions of ready. And a customer base that understandably would quite like the thing that they paid for before a new political era begins. You know, no one wants to wait, and no one wanted to wait until, you know, the next US president's in to get their keyboard or whatever. And in 2025 that surfaced how fragile that process can be. A couple of challenging projects that I'm not going to name piled on extra cost, extra time and extra stress. It's bad enough when board is late. It's worse when you've thrown in more money and effort than you ever planned to just to get it out of the door at the standard you promised. Sometimes things go wrong, and sometimes that's really frustrating from a vendor point of view when you've got to pay more than what you've invested in the project to fix something. It happened with Oceanographer, for example, when Eternus went bankrupt and we had to kind of foot the bill. By the end of it, sometimes you're left staring at a prototype thinking, not this is my proudest work, but more instead of this almost broke my resolve and my balance sheet. You know, you get to that point where something just feels like, was it worth it? Did we do something that was worthwhile? Customers aren't wrong to be wary. Group buy fatigue doesn't come from nowhere, but it does mean that going forward, the bar for saying yes to a project has to be higher, and the number of things in the pipeline at once has to be lower. That's exactly what you said a few minutes ago, Captain Mike. There needs to be fewer sets, and I said at the time that the bar has to be higher for what vendors pick. Let's catch up with chat. Solar is Dark is a great set. It is a great set. Deadstock, the silent cash flow assassin. At the opposite end of the hype spectrum sits Deadstock. Boards, kits, colours and ideas never quite found their audience, now sitting on a shelf like a collection of bad decisions. That's how I feel about some of the stock we've got. Deadstock is a keyboard equivalent of the non-running cars on my driveway. Got to poke fun at myself. On day one, it's full of promise. 6 months later, it's still there, still not moving, and still quietly consuming money and space. Every time you walk past it, you feel both affection and deep financial regret. For a business like Prototypist, Deadstock isn't just mildly inconvenient, it directly impacts cash flow, and we all know that that's king. That's because capital is tied up in inventory that isn't moving, warehouse spaces get allocated to things that don't justify their footprint, and new products get delayed because the money is trapped in old ones. That's why the J01 and J03 have not launched yet, because cash is trapped in old products. And 2025 made this brutally obvious. Ordering a bit extra just in case stopped being a minor risk and became a major liability. There's a lot of sets that we, like we talked about nuclear data, we ordered, extras, 100% extras for those. And now we've been sat with dead stock for 18 months. The lesson is clear. Stock needs to be under tighter control. Fewer speculative bets, more focus on products that have a clear audience and a clear path to selling through. This is what I said before. Vendors now have to make the decisions about what they know will sell, not about what they hope will sell or what they would like to buy themselves. It's not glamorous as launching 10 new boards a year, but it's how you make sure the lights stay on long enough to launch the good stuff. Shipping and couriers, the villains with barcodes. Of course, even when stock is sensible and group buys are under control, there's still the joy of shipping couriers. Couriers in 2025 somehow managed to combine rising prices, inconsistent reliability, and a remarkable talent for damaging things that are both expensive and carefully packed. International shipping, already a minefield, became a full-on obstacle course as more countries adjusted import rules, VAT handling, and customs practices. Tariffs, anyone? So this wasn't just the US including tariffs, it was changes in Germany and a few other EU countries, it was changes in South America, it was changes in Japan, where all of these rules kind of like changed and we had to do different things. And Orange Man tariffs. Can't forget that bundle of joy. From a customer's perspective, shipping is simple. You pay a fee, something arrives. From the business side, it's a juggling act involving negotiating rates that don't make checkouts look like a sticker shock generator. So I have to sit down with UPS and DHL and negotiate rates. It's not like I can use the ones off the shelf, because if I did, they'd be stupidly priced. Dealing with lost and damaged parcels when insurance turns out to mean enjoy filling out 10 forms and waiting. So there's been times when we've claimed for insurance costs here at PT. And this is something that Mel and Sharon do for us. They fill out the forms, they make the phone calls, they put the claims in. And the cost to us as a business to make that claim has cost more than what we're claiming about in staff time, in just in literal staff hours. When you work it out, like the hourly rate versus the full-time equivalent cost, whatever it is, plus heating and lighting and the cost of a PC and running it and all of that kind of stuff. You work it out, it's cost us more to make the complaint and get the money back for the product than it was actually worth doing. So go figure. Trying to maintain some sense of predictability in delivery times when half the tracking updates read like a travelogue. UPS has been terrible for this. The updates are never clear, and we're having to try and work on those. By the end of 2025, shipping service and couriers are a big challenge. It wasn't just a line on my to-do list, it was a recurring antagonist in my dreams. You guys know I keep a detailed to-do list. This was on there multiple times. Right, let's catch up with chat for a second. Curious on what the bar is and how you set it. If ICs aren't meaningful right now, experience, gut feel, group vendor collaborations, group vendor discussions, and understanding. There's no right answer to this. It's just that ICs can't be trusted in a general sense. Group buy sales aren't necessarily representative of what we'll sell in stock, and no one wants to buy group buys anyway. Everyone wants it sat on the shelf, so you have to make sure you're making the right choices. There's no right or wrong answer. I can't tell you the answer to that. It's gut feel, and sometimes we make the right decision, sometimes we make the wrong decision. Simple as that. That's just the way it is. So yeah, that's just the way it is. Thank you, whoever that was with the sub.
Tasty.
Jelly says, do you think that the audience now has unjustly higher expectations of what a group buy should be, given the past boom of the hobby? Maybe. I think the other side of it is the people who used to join group buys, they used to join for two reasons. One, because they wanted the item, or two, because they knew they could sell it for a profit. So the other thing that is declining in the hobby is the aftermarket, and that's because things aren't worth what they were once worth after the group buy finished, because now it's in stock for 2 years. So you can buy the same thing in stock that someone has got, and historically they would have had it, and you wouldn't have been able to buy it in stock because the stock would have sold out. So that's caused the aftermarket to come down. So in reality, what's happened here is the customer base has said, we don't want group buys anymore, we want stuff in stock. And now they're saying, wait, why is all this stuff in stock? Because now I can't sell stuff on the aftermarket. And those two kind of go hand in hand. The more available something is, the less value it has on the aftermarket, and because the easier it is for people to buy it. So I think expectations was, in one sense, yes, I can always sell this for what I paid for it. And because that's now gone away, people are now more tenacious in what they want to buy, or tenuous in what they want to buy, sorry, not tenacious. And people now don't have that camaraderie around a group buy. One of the things I have noticed that has changed significantly is if you go back to MK UK, for example, the UK community, and you look at the Solarized Dark group buy, you will see 20 or 30 people who all bought into that group buy post in the Discord around the same sort of time. They were hyped for it, they were excited for it. The conversation would have peaks and troughs over the couple of months it was in production, and then when it ships, you see nothing but picture of that for weeks afterwards. That doesn't exist anymore. No one likes to share things that or very few people like to share what they built. The conversations run dry. The community is fragmented and split up into smaller and smaller discords and smaller areas. You don't even see it much in the PT Discord anymore, and that's something I'm going to be tackling this year as well. Trying to generate conversation about different things. Most conversation in the PT Discord is in the SPC, and that's like 90% of the conversation is in SPC, and I need to try and draw you guys out of the SPC and into some of the other channels sometimes. But that's for me to do. So I think that's a fair question, Jelly, and I think the answer is yeah. I think people have got used to things being a certain way, and now that that's changed, the market's going to have to change, and people aren't quite used to that yet. Orange Man bad, you know it. JO1 and JO3 are probably the upcoming not yet launch boards that I'm looking forward to most at the moment. I hope the cash situation gets resolved smoothly. The thing is, I could afford to do them tomorrow, but I wouldn't be able to underwrite them myself fully. And if I'm going to do something like that, I like to be able to underwrite it fully. So yeah, it's going to be a while. It's constantly shifting. It is, yeah. Thank you, Manu, for the 26 months of subs. I appreciate you, dude. Flippers be gone. Yeah, people who cry about the aftermarket not entitled to getting what they paid for, F them. Yeah, but they're a big part of the customer base, so you can't just say, oh, we don't want the customer base, JQ, because then that's everyone who's involved in keyboard's livelihood just gone, right? So, yeah. Captain Mike says, it's tough. Novel Keys buying out all set group buys makes people not join because they know there will be extras, and that sentiment of expectation transfers to true group buys. So, The thing is, it's really tough because it's not just Novel Keys buying stuff out. We do it too, and there's been when we've been lead vendor, and other vendors have done it as well. There is an expectation that if a group buy runs, you fulfill it, whether it gets close to MOQ or not. People don't like it, and people's people's love for that group buy fatigue happens more when a group buy fails to make MOQ and fails to get made. People go, oh well, what's the point in joining another group buy? The last two haven't made it. So you end up with more fatigue by group buys failing. So what the kind of plan is now is to not do group buys. So in my head, sort of. Let me clarify this. So in my head, there's 3 stages to have these. Incredible. You have a group buy. That's before production has started. You are using the sales data in the group buy phase as a barometer of interest. And then you place the order with the manufacturer to produce a number of sets, okay, or a number of products. Then you have what I call the pre-order phase. And that is, you've already paid for the manufacturer for it. It's in the pre-order phase. It's being made no matter what. It's going to happen. Customers can then buy it and have it shipped when it arrives. And then the third stage is in stock. All we're doing is basically annexing that group buy phase. I'm saying, right, we're going to commit to this project. Here's the group buy, because that's a terminology in parlance that everybody knows. It's not, because we've already paid for the production slot. It's already in production. We just need to give a final total for the numbers or whatever. But we've already paid a percentage of the production slot, so it's already started. And yeah, that's how it is. Oh, you can see my bald spot in my beard. Look, I've been picking at my beard, and you can see the bald spot coming through. That's frustrating. That's forced alopecia, because I'm terrible at looking after myself. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of how it's working. I hope that makes sense. ICs are weird. ICs are frustrating. They could be a great use of crowdsourcing information. What they end up being is a trip up a garden path no one wants to go down in some occasions. I thought it was grey hairs. No, there are grey hairs. But I have this really bad problem of when I get stressed, and this is all mortgage stuff, not PT stuff. I pick and pluck, and I do it without thinking, and I end up with like a mess of hairs. It's really, really bad for me. I'm trying to stop. So yeah. So real about the bald spot, dude. Like it's so bad. It's so bad. It's a really bad habit. Anyway. Once you get a couple of sets at a steep discount because it's sat on a shelf and needs to be gone, it's hard to forget that a $140 retail GMK set just cost you $4. Yeah, I mean, it is. Still no word on the mortgage? No, hopefully next week, Monday, Tuesday. So yeah, I put my beard too. Dude, like it's stress. That's all it is. It's stress. The house move, if it doesn't happen, I may end up being divorced. And it will be my fault if we don't get the mortgage. So yeah. I'm close to asking vendors not to order extras for any more key sets because it feels like everyone waits for extras and that makes everything pretty stressful. It's a really good point. The problem is, Manu, that the way things are priced currently, you only make about, as a vendor here in the UK, I can't speak for it. I know the cost of doing business is cheaper in the US, for example, but I don't think there is a project that we've run where after we've paid for all of production, all of QC, shipping, designer royalties and everything else, where we've made more than 10% as the profit margin. And 10% is really low. So if we're selling a $60 set, we're making $6. If we're selling a $100 set, we're making $10. That's next to nothing to run a business off. So the only place we make money is by having extras on the shelf to sell, or in stock products to sell, and because then you're selling them at a retail price rather than the reduction price of group buy or pre-order. So it's really difficult to balance. It really is difficult to balance. So yeah. I thought he was referring to one of the US fellas selling Fuji cheaper than a second-hand set. So people still have GMK Fuji in stock is insane, because that was 2020 set. So it's 5 years old now. Yeah. Group buys peanuts. Yeah. The whole hobby needs to reprice itself. And interestingly enough, that's the next thing I talk about. The race to the bottom and the value problem. Then there's a slow burn issue, the race to the bottom. As mass market brands and OEMs flooded the space with more affordable, surprisingly decent boards, the perception of what a good keyboard should be or should cost started to warp. For many new or casual users, their first mechanical is now cheap, cheerful, and miles better than whatever Office Rubber Dome came before. That's genuinely great for accessibility, 100% is. I truly believe that. But it also warps value perception in niche industries like ours. From that vantage point, a well-designed custom with tight tolerances, quality materials, excellent acoustics, and thoughtful ergonomics suddenly looks expensive, even if the price is entirely fair for what it is. On paper, it's just a keyboard. So is the budget board. Try explaining the difference in a world where sound tests on TikTok flatten nuance into 15 seconds of talk. Like, I genuinely believe that this is one of the biggest problems in keyboards right now. Trying to convince people that the £350 Noritech 70 that we're selling is better than the QK or the Neo board or the Aula F75 or whatever is the keyboard selling right now. As a vendor, the tension is constant. Make room for cheaper products that bring people into the hobby. It's hard, but it's got to be done. Still champion premium boards that embody what got everyone excited about custom keyboards in the first place. It's what I try and do. Avoid being dragged into a pricing war you can never really win without sacrificing quality. It's so hard. Like if we were to do the JR1s at $200 a unit, I'd have to sell 20,000. It's not going to happen. 2025 was the year that tension became unavoidable. The market had shifted. Pretending otherwise was no longer an option. And that's where we are right now. It's kind of insane how the hobby prices seem mostly fixed in nominal terms for years now, while outside inflation is much higher. That's an excellent sentence. Which sentence was good? Let me know. I like that you guys like my writing. Exists in terms of the pricing. The pricing wholesale has gone up in real terms each year, pretty much. Like if we track the pricing per MOQ of sets that we got from Jim K, that trend is upwards, right? Because it has to be. The retail pricing is actually coming down to try and generate more sales. And that's a problem because at some point they're going to cross over and it's going to be that whole kind of, where does that line of one going up and one coming down hit each other? And it's really close right now. It's really close. Try explaining the difference in a world where sound tests on TikTok flatten nuance into 15 seconds of thought. I'm kind of proud of that one. I thought it was good. The hobby has changed, and so must we. Mechanical keyboard landscape of 2025 doesn't look like the boom years. That's not a disaster, it's just different. A lot different. From hardcore enthusiasts to fringe users, the hardcores are still here. The people with 4 soldering irons, a drawer full of stabilizers, and very strong opinions about plate materials and layout choices. JQ, where are you and your ISO? They'll continue to buy niche layouts, limited sets, and weird little boards nobody else understands. Those kind of people aren't going anywhere. But the growth in 2025 came more from the edges. And I say growth in italics because it wasn't real growth. Like, there was more people leaving the hobby than joining. The fringe users and the adjacent hobbyists. This is the key, the adjacent hobbies. This is where we need to try and tackle as a whole group in the next couple of years. And I mean that across all vendors and designers. PC builders who care about aesthetics and want the keyboard to match the rest of the setup. Let's stop them buying the Aula F75 and start buying something decent. Gamers who want better feel and sound but don't want to study in an encyclopedia on niche terms about clag or thock or what gasket material is best. Basically, good boards like the Vella and pre-built stuff. Productivity focused users who type all day and have realized that their hands deserve something better. How do we target those folks? They aren't into Discord and, Geekhack and all of that kind of stuff or TikTok. But I bet there's an army of people out there who are coders and developers who don't necessarily game, who work for institutions and corporations who would like a nice keyboard and they don't realize something better exists. And I say that here. Those people don't live on keyboard forums or Discords. They live on YouTube, Twitch and TikTok, and in subreddits that span multiple hobbies. They have a higher threshold for nonsense and a lower tolerance for waiting for 18 months for anything. They're also, crucially, not interested in being shamed for not knowing what a flex cut is. They just think they want it. And I mean by that is, you can't joke about memes with them. They just want what they want. And that's where the hobby has to grow up a little bit. It is full of meme makers and things like that, and there has to be that side element now where we kind of grow out of that and grow into a kind of pure production, environment that targets those kind of people in different ways. The problem with increasing mass market appeal is that the average consumer doesn't understand what goes into the price tag for a given item, especially for the bespoke small custom runs. So that's where you are reading ahead of me, good sir, because that's where I'm trying to go here. So value explained properly. The perception of value is the real battleground now. In a world full of budget boards that are good enough, what makes prototypist style products worth the extra money? It's not just a metric of some sort, it's more than that. Longevity, boards designed to be used and loved for years, not just until the next trendy colorway appears. Repairability and modability, the ability to fix, tune and personalize instead of binning and replacing. And design integrity, layouts and cases that feel cohesive, not just another clone with RGB. None of that is obvious unless it's explained, and it doesn't happen today. For someone coming from a £60 pre-built, the differences between that and a properly executed custom is massive, but only if you show it and not just say it. Like, you can put all the bumf you want on the world. You can give every kind of discussion on the website that you want about it. But if you don't show them that, that's the case. Part of the 2026 mission is to help translate that value into terms normal humans care about: comfort, joy in use, long-term reliability, and the simple satisfaction of having something on the desk that doesn't feel disposable. Like if Mary Kondo started talking about that spark of joy again. That means more open days, more keyboards and coffee mornings, and more meetups. Let's catch up with chat. Sorry, too busy sniffing glue. Fair. I had money on melting some ABS, no win for me. Discord is such an informational black hole. It's convenient in many ways, but so inaccessible in many others. Yeah. Telling someone a JSON is in a random Discord or firmware for newbies is hard to not just do it for them, based on the people I've helped. Yeah, they don't want to do that. They want it to click and go. I love finding out that international kits for sets are in fact being made, so I miss out on buying the set at group buy and then have to remember when it comes into stock that it's available from somewhere else. It's tough. The fact I can count on more than one hand how many have been a throwaway comment in Discord. Yeah, it happens. I'm buying and praying every time. I wish I could fix that. I'm worried you won't get home, so I'll get home. It'll be fine. Unobtainium Blue is a good example. NK announced in a Discord message, that's it. They didn't even tell us. So yeah. Right, so keyboards in 2026, final editions, better shipping, actual content. If 2025 was about learning some painful lessons, 2026 is about acting on them. The good stuff still exists. Final editions are flexed. Front and center in 2026 are our own projects that represent the best of what the hobby can be. Midnight Rainbow, JO1, JO3. Plus some stuff we've not shared or talked about yet. There's some stuff that I've been working on in the background that hasn't been shared yet. These aren't speculative fads. They're, I hope, the products of experience, iterations refined over years, not weeks. They're properly built and designed, deeply satisfying, and not remotely interested in being budget, unfortunately. Not because expensive is inherently better, but because sometimes better costs more for a reason. Putting these front and center in 2026 sends a message. The high end is still worth caring about. The race to the bottom hasn't won. Not here, at least not yet. Stock that makes sense. One of the biggest strategic shifts for 2026 is getting smarter about stock. No more shelves as museums of forgotten projects. No more mountains of it'll move eventually. The plan is tighter initial runs where appropriate, using key barometers of interest such as group buy or pre-order demand, faster reorders and clear winners, more ruthless decisions on things that aren't earning their keep. It's not just about being lean, it's about respect for customers and the business. That'll probably upset some designers sadly, but when stock is curated carefully, the site becomes easier to navigate, my own recommendations make more sense, and every product listed has a reason to be there. It also means there's more bandwidth, financial and mental, for new projects that deserve attention rather than always playing catch up with the mistakes of 2 years ago. I would rather invest in projects that I am certain are going to be bangers than products that I'm not quite sure about, but let's just stock it anyway. Making shipping less painful. Shipping isn't going to magically become fun in 2026 for us, but the goal is to make it less painful and more predictable both operationally and reducing friction for customers. That includes working towards significantly cheaper shipping options, especially for key routes like the EU, Asia and USA. Working on that right now. Trying to keep shipping free for in-stock domestic orders where possible. Again, working on that as well. Exploring better partnerships or consolidations that reduce per parcel cost without turning delivery into lottery. There are options that we don't do currently where we could batch EU or US orders for a week and ship them as a pallet rather than individually, and it would make it significantly cheaper. These are the kind of things that we're going to take a look at. Crucially, figuring out how to include VAT, tariffs and import costs at checkout for as many destinations as possible so customers know exactly what they're paying. We already do this for UK, US and EU customers, but it's really, really clunky how we have it set up in the back end. And I want to try and fix that. Now that's a long-term project. I'm hoping that's going to be 6 months and we'll get that sorted. Nobody enjoys surprise custom bills. Nobody enjoys emails that start with, so my parcel is being held hostage. Building duties and taxes into the checkout wherever possible turns that chaos into a known quantity. It's more work up front and cost, but it makes the overall experience feel less like smuggling and more like normal shopping. A company I often admire, Fram, this is a jacket company, completely unrelated with them, but I buy from them a couple of times. They make this boat jackets, and they've sold it by having one price worldwide. Doesn't matter where you are, you can be in the UK, the US, wherever. You pay the same price, and they just cover all of the shipping costs and everything else. Like it's free shipping, and they cover the duties to anywhere. So, you know, the US customers pay the same as the UK customers, but they don't then get import duties. It's kind of a clever system, and they are losing money on some and making money on others to try and break even overall, which is kind of clever. And it's something that we might consider. The content era, guides, reels, and reluctant marketing. And then there's the inevitable surrender for content.
Tasty, tasty.
Thank you so much, Manga Keeps, for the raid. And was that a sub as well? Did I miss a sub? But welcome, Manga Keeps. We're just reading my blog at the minute. In 2026, Prototype stops pretending it can just quietly exist and leans into actually showing people what it does. That means actually doing some advertising. Old school build guides that want newcomers to assembly without making them feel dense. That's the big one for me. Build guides don't exist anymore. That content is all on Discords and all over the place. We're going to fix that. More guides on how to do keyboard chores, and there is one already up there. How to not set fire to your keyboard, a soldering guide. More explainer videos that demystify terms like plate mount versus PCB mount and sound profile without turning into lectures, short form YouTube content, guides on simple stuff. This is the sort of thing we're going to do. Reels and short clips on socials that showcase boards, key sets and switches in action. Stuff that I don't do yet, but I'm going to have to lean into it. It's something we need to do. And that includes sound tests, but ones that link clearly to people things can buy right now. So only if it's in stock.
Incredible.
Social media content that reflects the reality. Juggling product creation, community, logistics, and occasional ADHD fueled rabbit hole. Although I think the stories we do on Insta do cover the majority of that, I want to do more of that kind of content too. Does it feel a bit like becoming a small media operation on top of everything else? Absolutely. And that's one thing I'm worried about, but it's something we're going to have to do. And content isn't just about pushing product. Done properly, it becomes the bridge between the hardcore enthusiast who already knows us and the fringe user who's quietly interested but doesn't know what to search. Someone can watch a 60-second clip and go from what's the best keyboard to what's a J1 to I get it, I want one. That's worth my time every day of the week. And then finally, dear reader, here is your oh that's me moment, keyboard edition. If you've ever put artisan keycaps on a budget board and then wonder why something still feels off, bought a second, third or fourth endgame board, asked which switch is the best and then argued with someone else's answer to that, you're the person who all this is written for. The keyboard side of 2026 isn't about moralizing or gatekeeping. It's about making it easier for newcomers to avoid bad purchases. I don't want people buying the wrong stuff. Helping enthusiasts buy better things. And ensuring that the good end of the hobby doesn't drown under an ocean of cheaply made and good enough plastic. There's still a lot of joy to be had in the space. The moment a board comes together perfectly the first time as new switch lube combo hits just right. The quiet satisfaction of a layout that fits your hands like it was made for them. The job now is to keep that joy accessible, sustainable, and financially sane. If that means fewer questionable group buys, less dead stock, better shipping, and more content that explains why a properly designed keyboard is worth it, then 2026 is already a step in the right direction. And that's kind of like my thoughts on it. That's kind of like how I feel about where we're going. So yeah. Mega Keeps, thanks again for the raid. I appreciate it. How's stream, sir? It's good. I think if you exclude the COVID interest piece, supporting passion key projects has and always will be a niche thing. Maybe, but does it have to be? I don't know. Newfie says a question. Are keyboards that you have to build, putting off new customers? Could you offer a Neo 75, for example, fully built with switches and keycaps to capture the 300 plus Logitech and Razer crowd? As I'm sure not everyone wants to pick switches, loops and stuff. Yeah, but I can't build keyboards at that kind of pace, at that kind of price. So just like if I was to employ someone to build a keyboard, it takes about 3 hours. Let's say you pay them a decent wage of 20 quid an hour. That's 60 quid just in cost to build it. That's before you consider warehousing. That's before you consider staff insurances, tools, materials, solder. It's before you consider the insurances for them to do that kind of thing. It's before you know, there's a whole raft of other stuff. Like reasonably to put that kind of cost in there without making them in China or having them assembled in China, to assemble them over here becomes really expensive really, really quickly. I know I only charge 50 quid to build them on stream, which is really cheap, or 50 quid to just build keyboards for people, which is really cheap. And I don't break even on that cost. So when you consider that, it becomes really, really expensive really quickly. So I'd love to do it, but it would be significantly more expensive than, you know, the Logitech and Razer stuff, because you would have to add so much cost to it. I'm going to sneeze. Bless me. Well said, well written. Thank you. Thank you. Insightful write-up. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Like, I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm about to publish one for the coffee website, which is very, very similar in terms of how it's structured. It kind of gives the same kind of view. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. But what about working with creators who would build keyboards on their streams for free? So that's fine, but you know, you have to vet people for a lot of it. Like if you're going to have people build keyboards for you for free, you have to make sure that their quality is top tier every time. When someone's doing something for no financial reward but their own content, it becomes a very different beast, because one, it's almost becoming an advert, and that comes with its own kind of consequences and things you have to consider from a legal perspective. Two, because they're not being paid for the build, will they actually build at a consistent quality, or are they going to build at a certain quality and then that's going to slide, or peaks and troughs and things like that? And three, then you've got additional costs to ship to them, to ship it back, insurances for that kind of stuff as well. Things go missing, things get lost, things get damaged. Who's accountable? Who's reliable? Who's responsible? There is a lot of pitfalls in that. It's not a bad idea, the adapt, but there is a lot of pitfalls in that kind of approach as well. And when you are a proper company, you have to kind of take those to consideration. It's okay if you're a one-man band working out of a bedroom and you have that kind of agreement with someone who's like, you know, streaming stuff, but when you're a proper company doing multi-million-pound revenue a year, you have to structure things in a different way.
Incredible.
Kind of I like this talk a lot. Thanks, Menno. I hope you appreciate it. I wouldn't even build my own boards for free. Backlog. Yeah, I feel that. Right, okay, it is still snowing really heavily, so I'm going to head home. I'm sorry I did not get to build the keyboard today. I will build it one night during the week when the snow is not here. I do not want to get stuck here and not be able to get home. So I'm really sorry to Agliston if he's watching. I'm really sorry to anyone who tuned in purely for the Vella build. I did not get to it today, but it is thick as snow, and I want to make sure I get home safely. And I want to drive now at 9:30 instead of at 11 o'clock when it's another 3 inches deep. So I will be at the workshop tomorrow. Hopefully Mel will be as well if the snow is not too bad. Do come and check us out on Discord. Come and watch us on Instagram. If you read the blog and you've got any questions, please leave some comments on it, because it helps me get, you know, more Google stuff, like all the analytics and things. So do leave some comments if you read through the blog. If you've got any questions, I will publish all of them that are relevant. If you leave just a shit comment, I won't, but if you leave something that's relevant, I will publish it, I will answer it. If you want to talk about it in the Discord, I'd love to do that. There will be an announcement going up with the blog post later on anyway. But if you want to continue the conversation and try and, you know, engage my thoughts on a number of different things, please do, because I love to talk about this stuff. Right, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna try and drive in the snow. Watch out for the Insta stories of me crashing somewhere on the way home. Yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow on Instagram, Discord, and wherever. Right, take care, guys. Have a really good rest of your night, and see you later. Okay, it's not changing.
Incredible.